Good day once again, my dear friends, Carmelite seculars in the Philippines. My name is Father Haluendo Amit, and we are continuing our series of video talks on the declaration of the Carmelite Teresian Charism, and we are now at number 18. The title for number 18 is The God Revealed in Jesus Christ. Let me read first the exact letter or the exact text of the declaration. Quote, "This lofty and sublime reality comes close to us. It is experienced in the person of Jesus Christ, God the Son made man. In his humanity, he is the way that leads to the knowledge of the Father in John 14:6. The Teresian Carmel exists as a response to the discovery of Christ, who is the way to the truth, beauty, and goodness of the mystery of communion between God and humanity, and reflected in the communion of life within the Trinity. Teresa does not speak only of an article of faith, but of what she has heard, seen, and contemplated in the first letter of John 1:1, of an experience that has radically changed her, becoming the center of her existence and the light that guides her path. The force that attracts and draws Teresa is God's love, revealed in Jesus Christ. Quote, "He loved me and gave himself up for me," in Galatians 2:20. Teresa is literally conquered by the phrase "for me" inscribed in the whole being and activity of Jesus Christ. From him, all good blessings have come to her in the life 22:4. And for this reason, her human and spiritual growth can only develop as a deepening of her relationship with him, as a penetration into the depth of his truth, which is unfolding as the truth of God in his Trinitarian life, as the truth of the church in need of reform, as the truth of the world awaiting salvation." End quote. The declaration that we have today is a little bit long, but anyhow, let us try to comment a little about this declaration, number 18. Now, we know that there are many institutes, societies, associations, or congregations, if you want to call it. But there are only 5 basic orders in the church. We have the orders of St. Augustine, the order of the Franciscans, the order of the Dominicans, the order of the Benedictines, and the order of the Carmelites. Now, these orders contribute to the building of the church through their charisms and their spiritualities. Some are into missions, some are in teaching and education, some are in parish works, liturgical promotions, etc., etc. Therese describes these charisms as flowers that blossom in the fields. They bloom in different seasons of the year. Now, these orders have inspired other groups of men and women in the history of the church who have founded their own associations, or institutes, or congregations, at times using the constitutions of these 5 major orders. Moved by the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, saints and holy men founded the groups, different groups, like, for example, the Jesuits, the SVDs, the Marist, Rogationists, etc., etc. Today, we find people affiliated with any of these orders or congregations. They have already attached themselves to a certain way of life. We call it spirituality. Spirituality is an embellishment of the way of life of a Christian, a creative enhancement of the spirit that inspires the person. It is putting an emphasis on a specific moment in the life of Jesus. For example, the way Jesus taught the disciples, the way he took care of the poor, the way he deals with the women, the prostitutes, and the widows, etc., etc. The center of our spirituality should be Jesus. In any spirituality, the center is always Jesus. In fact, he is the center of all the spiritualities. He should be always our point of reference. The disciples, the apostles, the church fathers, the blessed and the saints imitate Jesus Christ. All our desires, for example, to be affiliated with a certain way of life and our devotions with other saints should always be checked and aligned to the Christian spirituality. We ask, do they lead me to Jesus? You can do many things. You can have hundreds of devotions. You can have many apostolates. You can have many projects. You can be famous with giving so many talks. But do they lead you to Jesus? Do they lead people to Jesus? Carmelite spirituality is looking, focusing at Jesus, how he prays, how he responds, how he interacts, etc., etc. Now, since we all have received a Carmelite vocation of prayer, since we're all Carmelites, it is good to ponder and reflect on the questions. How does Jesus pray? How does Jesus pray? A good measure, therefore, of how a person live the Carmelite spirituality is to measure, or not to measure, but to look at his prayer life. There, you will know how he is convinced of his relationship with Jesus. Following Jesus is not simply following what he did in his ministries. Imitating him is figuring out how he feels, how he thinks, what will he say, how and what will he do in the given situation, what is the attitude of Jesus in a given circumstance. Of course, we cannot really perfectly and fully decipher how, but by meditating on the story of the gospel would give us an idea of how. It is following how Jesus prays. The experience of Santa Teresa, her encounter with Jesus is so powerful that it became a turning point for her conversion. Just like so many saints in the past, the encounter of Jesus as a person should lead us to follow a spirituality that is grounded in Jesus. We also say, like Santa Teresa, from him all good blessings have come.